Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And another couple of birthday cards for the Pretty Pink Posh February release. I did a video the other day making a couple of rainbow birthday cards for the blog hop. Today I am part of an Instagram hop to celebrate the release. There's giveaways, everything. I have a link to my Instagram in the description box below the video, so you can go check it out, find the image of these cards, leave a comment, get entered to win. And I went similar again, of course, did rainbow birthday. This time though, I used the leftover foil. I have to give a caveat to that. I used the leftover foil from the previous cards, and I used a solid hot foil plate, and you get basically the outline of the sentiments. And I've shown this in other videos. I mentioned in the previous rainbow birthday card Pretty Pink Posh video that I would show in the next one how I did it. And then I accidentally deleted all the footage. So professional. So, like I said though, I've shown in other videos, you basically just take the solid hot foil plate and the leftover foil, put it face down on the solid hot foil plate so the pretty side of the foil touches the plate, and then your cardstock of choice. In my case, I used black Heavystock again. And then you do just the exact same thing with the Glimmer hot foil. So I did that, got the outlines, and it's just a way to use up that foil, plus you just get a different look. Instead of the sentiment being foiled, the outline is foiled. Hopefully that makes sense, because yeah, I deleted the footage. Great job. And then I used a new to me paste in this video too. I was just experimenting. I had no idea how these cards were going to turn out. I was just like, let's see what happens. So using new to me paste. I did what I did in a similar video though. I got rainbow colors using only 3 inks. Did a different combo of inks this time though for a slightly different look, a slightly more muted rainbow. It's still bright. It's still fun. So anyway, all the info will be in the description box below, and then keep watching and I'll show you guys how I made these cards. So I used another one of the Pretty Pink Posh layering stencil sets. This is the birthday wreath, or layered birthday wreath stencil set. And because I'm doing 2 cards and the insides, I have a process. So it kind of makes it look more difficult than it actually is, but there's always a method to the madness. So I have my card front, and it's just A2 panel of smooth white cardstock, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then my card base with some Post-it tape right at the score line so I don't get ink, past the stencil, past the score line, that sort of a thing. And starting with yellow. I've talked about this how I do rainbows. I always start with yellow. Biggest reason is it's closest to the center of the rainbow, as is green, but I do yellow because I don't want to get the other colors into my yellow tools, whether it's my blending brushes, my pouncers, etc. And this time I'm using all Concord 9th inks, and like I said, I'm only using 3. So I'm using Sunflower, and then I'll use Dragonfruit and PEACOCK inks. So for the panels that are going to be my card fronts, I use a much heavier hand. I was blending hard, solid ink. And then when I lifted the stencil and put it onto the inside of the card, I'm barely pressing with the blending tool. I'm dusting, really, and not re-inking anything because I want a lighter impression on the insides of my cards. I don't want solid ink because that just makes it more difficult to write anything over it or for you to see what's written. So I just go in with a lighter hand. So I did my yellow first, and I did all the card fronts and the inside. Once that was in place, the rest of this, I could do the other 2 colors just back to back, because one, they're on opposite sides of the stencil, and it's simple. So that's where I went in with the Dragonfruit and the PEACOCK. And same thing, I did much heavier blending on what will be the card fronts, and then lift the stencil, put it onto the inside of the card, and then just lightly brush what's left over on the stencil, whatever's still on the brush, so that I get that lighter impression. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the second layer. And with the second layer, I'm going in even heavier because I'm layering it on top of the previous blend. And since I'm not changing the colors, like I'm using the same colors, I just add in a heavier layer. So second layer starts adding in some of the details, adding in a few other little elements. It was super easy to like line this up because it just was. So same thing, just heavier application of the ink, and doing yellow first. So the yellow layer, I would do the card front, the inside, the other card front, the inside. And when I go in the second time, I can do the other two colors. If I was doing just one card, I wouldn't have to move the stencil, so much. But again, this is the method to the madness, and how I keep my blending brushes and tools with yellow inks not contaminated. And I've mentioned this before. I don't, with all my other colors and all my other tools, I don't care. It doesn't affect it at all. I just find, like, if I pick up like yellow ink on my pink tools, my blue tools, whatever, it's fine. Like, I might get a little bit of green here or a little bit of orange, but it's not going to make a difference. Whereas with the yellow tools, if you get other colors picked up, the next time you go to use it with yellow ink, you can, a lot of times it'll still like those other colors will show up. So this is why I go to the extra effort of just keeping my yellow tools from getting other inks in them, because it can cause issues down the road, or at least it does for me. Anyway, for the third stencil, like the final stencil, I am using it just on the insides of the cards first, and just using a very light hand again. And this kind of adds in those detail bits. I needed to do this on the inside of the cards because this was the stencil I'm going to use with the paste. And so I needed to do the insides of the cards first, and then I clean off the stencil. I just wipe it off. And then I'm glad I wasn't going to do like a solid backgrounds on the card fronts, but because I wasn't sure with this paste. Like in the container, it's very white. Online, it's got kind of this, it's called Candy Coat Pearl. It's from Brutus Monroe, but it has almost like a rainbow look to it, but with, the white. But I was like, is it going to dry white? I wasn't sure. And did I have time to test it out at a time? No. I was like, let's just do it on a finish, when I have no time. Anyway, I decided to blend the backgrounds. I'm glad I did, because this paste actually it dries basically clear and with like a pearly finish, and there's sparkle and all the things. But I'm glad I added the background, because then the paste had some like extra ink to absorb and it shows up a bit better. So yeah, I just used those colors, blended the backgrounds, as you can see. Simple. So then I put that final stencil that I cleaned off and applied this paste. And yeah, this paste is interesting. It's got like finer glitter, and then it also has Mylar flex. I wasn't expecting that, because did I read the description when I ordered it? No, I was just like, ooh, this looks pretty, add to cart. So yeah, added it. It was a little, like, parts of it, because this stencil is a little more detailed, obviously, and some of those big chunks of glitter, but I was able to get the larger pieces over like the cupcake, toppers, that sort of a thing. So you see them in the final cards, which I loved that. It just gave it such a neat little look. So right now it looks white. It does not dry like that. It takes a while to dry as well. I'm not even sure how long it took to dry, but as it dries, because it was applied over like water reactive inks, it absorbs some of the inks and it dries more clear. It was fun. It was fun. So I just applied it. And then as soon as I was done applying it, I immediately put this stencil in a container of like soap and water. Just let it soak, or like, you immediately need to wash it off, because pastes like this are a nightmare to clean if you don't clean them immediately. So I just tossed it in water and it's good to go. So while those were drying, I've got my foiled sentiments that, I had all the footage I'd shown. Completely deleted it, and no, it wasn't in like the trash on my computer or anything like that. Like, I completely removed all the footage without even thinking. It was, again, good job, Amy. But I explained in the intro how I did it. So I used the hot foil Happy Birthday wafer dies, black Heavystock, and Glimmer hot foil. Had foiled the sentiments, used the original sentiments on the previous cards, and then used the leftover foil a solid hot foil plate and the black Heavystock, and got these sentiments with, so the words are in black and the outline is foiled, which is really fun. And this foil is just like, look at the rainbow colors it picks up. Love it. So I used the Happy Birthday Shadow wafer dies to die cut the outlines. And I still had like, you know, the scraps, and there was like several pieces that had like a fair bit of that foiling. And I was like, huh. So I used the little, it's like a little confetti wafer die from the Big Birthday Cupcake die set. And I'm using my little mini machine. This is the Honeybee Bitty Buzz Cutter manual machine. I've shown this in previous videos. This is the manual machine I love and like. As of right now, Honeybee doesn't even have this available. I think they're working on trying to get it again. We'll see. I'll link to a couple other mini machines. I love all my die cut machines. You know, I've got the Empress Mini. I've got the Big Empress. I've got the Platinum 6. They're all wonderful. I like having a little mini manual, like little tiny baby manual machine like that. Because when I have to do things like that little confetti, where you're just doing multiple die cuts, you know, and they're tiny, a mini machine, it just comes in handy. So I'll link to a couple other options, because if you don't have one, I recommend one. Hero Arts has a great one. Tim Holtz has a great one. They're great. So anyway, after I did that, I die cut just more white cardstock. Other than the sentiment, this whole card was just white cardstock and some ink blending and those 3 inks. That's it. So I die cut the Big Birthday Cupcake from that white cardstock, and the liner I used the Peacock and the Sunflower ink. The topping I used the Sunflower and Dragonfruit ink, and then the little star I used the Sunflower ink. And then for the cupcake itself, like it's just a little piece that's like the top of the cupcake, I used the Sunflower ink, but again, it was just what was left over on the brush. So it's very, very light, because I was like, it's like a vanilla cupcake. It's going to be, you know, because I just create all this in my head. I was like, it's a vanilla cupcake with buttercream frosting and then like a pink candy melt glaze. Because that would be fun. So lightly blended that onto the cupcake toppers. And then assembling these is obviously super easy. This Big Birthday Cupcake wafer die, you can actually technically make like the icing portion into a shaker, because there's another die that'll cut out the icing top to make it an outline. I didn't do that, but it is an option. It's super cute. But I left it just as is and assembled my little cupcakes. Super, super easy. Once everything was assembled and that paste was completely dry, so you can see now it's no longer white. It's basically transparent and sparkly and fabulous. And then, of course, I'm using my black and white baker's twine, because when I do rainbow stuff, black and white just looks so nice with rainbow. And I have ordered more twine. Black and white baker's twine is just my go-to. Like, I've been using this off and on for many, 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 many years, and this one's my favorite. So yes, already have one on order, because I was like, oh no, I'm getting low here. This roll is almost completely out. So wrap that around the card fronts, and then use my reverse tweezers to hold the knot in place, so I can sit there and fiddle with the bow to get it the way I want it. And then I remove the tweezers, tighten the bow. It's good to go. So trim off the excess of the tails. I repeated that on the second card front. And then to adhere everything, I'm using just a whole bunch of just thin foam squares, so I can pop like the cupcake up a little bit with a bit of dimension. So get that into place. And then the hot foiled and die cut sentiments, I'm just using some black foam squares for that. Popped up the little star with a little foam square, because why not? Let's build a little bit of dimension and just make these a little extra fun. So I popped the sentiments on with foam squares, and then you can see my little tray there with all my little die cut confetti bits from the scraps of that hot foiled Heavystock. And I'm going to use some of those as like sprinkles on the cupcake. And then I'm also just going to place a few as embellishments around the card, because why not? So once I was kind of happy with my little placement of all of these, I'm just going to pick them up with my little embellishment wand and adhere them with dabs of craft tacky glue. And yeah, I did think about splatter. I thought about it a lot, many times. and decided instead to add this little bits of like holographic, basically confetti, because why not? So once those are adhered into place, I can then adhere these card fronts to the card bases, again, with just some craft tacky glue. Got that adhered into place, and these cards are complete. So they're rainbow and shiny, and with that paste with the one stencil, they're like sparkly, and there's that like mylar bits in the paste, which just adds that fun little extra bit. And yeah, that's it. So like I said in the intro, I will have all the links to everything I used in the description box below the video. And then I'll have a link to my Instagram, because if you don't follow me, I welcome you. So I'll have a link to that too if you want to go check that out. I'll have a link to my website, or like the blog post for this project. All of that will be in the description box below the video for those that are interested. Thank you all so very much for watching, thumbs upping, commenting, letting the robot overlords know you like what you're seeing. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.